Allora, adesso il prossimo intervento si intitola Artificial Intelligence and the Metaverse Innovation for a Better Future e verrà tenuto da Markus Reinisch, Vice President Public Policy Europe and Global Economy Policy, Meta, che, eccolo lì, prego, si accomodi. Please join us on the stage, sir. Thank you. Welcome. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Alessio. Thank you for the nice introduction. Thank you. And buon pomeriggio tutti. It's wonderful to be here. I mean, my wife is not believing me that I'm actually doing work when I say I go to Lake Como. But it's such a great event and a great location to be. And Undersecretary Putti, thank you so much for inviting me and having me here. And if you actually allow me a short comment on your intervention this morning. Before I joined Meta, I've been, for all my sins, working 20 years in the telecoms industry. And your proposals on how we can fix the digital single market, how we can fix the infrastructure investment problem, is probably one of the most inspired that I've ever seen so far, and I want to thank you for that as well. But let's not talk about sort of the discussions from the past, whether we should tax content. Let's look into the future, and let's look into AI, and let's look into the metaverse. I'll be open with you. I declared from the beginning, I am a technology optimist. Yeah, and I'm specifically a technology optimist when it comes to the potential of artificial intelligence. And just at the most basic level, that it allows humanity to create pretty much any virtual content that we just have to imagine. That is astonishing. That gives creativity wings, and it's not just science fiction. This is not happening in 5, 10 years. It is happening now, and you've heard so much today. I've seen the presentation from Melissa from Google, who really clearly spelled out societal benefits in healthcare and so on. So, there's no doubt for me that, this is really, really happening. It's also extremely helpful for businesses, be they small or be they large. And talking maybe about one large business that works in artificial intelligence, well, it's actually Meta. It's the company I work for. And you know that pretty much everything we do is based on algorithms, is based on AI. The way that you have your news feed presented, you have the content presented to you in the most relevant fashion. The way that advertisers can present their advertisements to you is driven by AI. And probably one of the most sophisticated ways of how we deploy AI is actually by combating harmful information, misinformation. That's where we have actually spent the most brain power into deploying our AI functionalities. And that's why we have a long legacy, a long history of being at the forefront of AI research and development. We're celebrating 10 years. Can you imagine this? 10 years of the FAIR, which is the AI research laboratory that we have in Paris, that brought out people like Yann LeCun, who is a godfather of AI. This is a technical term, by the way, to be a godfather of AI. And it also allowed us to release over 1,000 open source AI products to the market. And one of those, and I've heard already a reference to this today, one of those, which is really the culmination of our work, is the release of Llama 2, which is one of the very largest in the world. And it is the largest open source AI model. And we in Meta really believe in the principle of openness. Openness helps us to bring other entities, other companies, other developers together to iterate, to be inventing, to be creating on our open AIs in order to create better products, in order to create safer products, to have more creative products. And that is a fantastic thing for us. And now a lot of you will say, hang on, this is the guy from Meta, and he's talking about AI all the time. So does that mean there's no metaverse anymore? And I've been actually asked this question today during an interview, and the answer is, this is a complete misconception of these two being two different things. They are not. Every ecosystem, every internet ecosystem needs technology, it needs programs, it needs platforms. And that's the same with the metaverse. The metaverse is the concept. AI is the engine that drives this concept. And you might be wondering, what is he holding in his hand here? Because I brought this with me on purpose. Because I think this is actually the best proof point that these two things go together. They're complementary. So this is one of the latest products. We've launched it, we've announced it, but it is not available yet. This is the latest version of the Ray-Ban Stories. A product that we built in cooperation with one of the best, the most innovative Italian companies, with EssilorLuxottica. And what is special about this is that it's not just world-class design. I mean, they are absolutely beautiful. Actually, the case is very beautiful as well, but the glasses are absolutely beautiful. They're the classical Wayfarer style. They are, which the first generation had as well. They have cameras. It's an improved camera, improved speakers, improved microphones. But what's really special about this is that this is combined with the superpower of algorithmic assistance. And these are assistants that can assist you. For example, you open a fridge and you say, well, I have tomatoes, I have mozzarella, I have chicken, what can I make? And you get advice for it. You can look at objects. You can stand in front of the Colosseo and say, hey, tell me more about the Colosseo, and you get information. In the future, we will also have the ability to have live language translations through these glasses. I mean, this is a real enhancement, and I think a wonderful example of how technologies come together, how they complement each other. And obviously, it's not just a wonderful device. I'm a geek, I love these things. But new technologies, they also have a real impact on us. They have a real impact on economy, on society. And the metaverse alone in Europe is expected to generate €500 billion. €500 billion is a lot of zeros. So that's close to €500 billion in GDP uplift through the ability to generate new businesses, new applications. And I think that the growth, the abilities, the opportunities go far beyond just the numbers. I think if our aspirations, our visions are aligned, we can also be a leader in Europe on these new technologies. And you might think, hey, that's crazy. We can't do this. This is a pipe dream. But don't forget, not that long ago, Europe was the leader on the mobile internet, was the leader on 3G internet. And that's not the case anymore, but we can lead. And then thinking about companies like EssilorLuxottica, who are real thought leaders, who have the real capability to take its share and bring Europe to sort of a pole position here, is very clear. So what we have to do now, I guess, is we just sit back. We wait until all these products come. We count the money as Europeans of all the GDP uplift, and everything is happy. Well, unfortunately, the picture is not that rosy. And we see increasingly that the investment environment, the lack of certainty about where Europe actually stands on future technologies is not conducive to this ambition. And one thing, this is not just an abstract construct and people feeling uncomfortable. We see the real tangible impacts of this already. We see increasingly that products are either coming very late or are not coming to Europe anymore. And I give you a couple of examples. Google Bard was delayed. We have heard recently that the Copilot of Microsoft, which is an AI assistant, is not coming to Europe. Our very own Threads, which you haven't heard yet because it's not in Europe, has not been launched yet. Threads is the most popular consumer product in the world, the most popular app in the world. Over 100 million downloads in less than 5 years. Very popular in the world, but it is not here in Europe. And it's not just US companies that struggle. We also have the largest travel booking site in Europe is not bringing an AI flight robot, AI to Europe. And do you remember what I said about these ones? About the superpower that is combined with these beautiful glasses? Well, actually, the assistants are not coming to Europe, unfortunately. And some of you will sit back, and many European policymakers sit back and say, yeah, that's okay. It's not a bug, it's a feature. We don't need all of this. We are really good in so many other places. We don't have to play everywhere. But the numbers don't support that. If you really look, and it's quite sad sometimes to see the pictures, out of the top 10 global companies, how many European companies? A big fat zero. Quantum computing, privately financed quantum computing, 50% American, 40% Chinese, 0% European. Private investment in AI, ratio between US and Europe, 20 to 1. lower growth, lower returns. I could go on forever, but I don't want to. So where do we go from this? Well, I think first, what we really need to try to do is to find the right balance between protecting European citizens by creating ethical, responsible AI, but at the same time, we need to harness the benefits of this new technology. And we shouldn't just regulate for the sake of regulation, for being the European champion in a regulation. That's not really a prize to get. And I think we should also be very careful not to have industrial policy that is anti-American, because perversely, and I hope not intentionally, anti-Americanism becomes quite sometimes pro-Chinese. And I'm not sure that is the intention of Europe. I'm very encouraged from some of the conversations that I have here in Italy. I've been speaking with ministers, other stakeholders here, because I would think you really take this very seriously, that you really dig into this and you want to find the best solution for the Italian citizens, for the industry, and that you don't just follow the memes and the conspiracy theories about this. But there are obviously developments, there are rules in Europe that have been decided in Brussels that we will have to live on for the next decades. The one thing that's still open is, what is the environment for AI? And I think we should all come to our senses and, as I said, find the right balance between protecting citizens and also be aware of the cost of getting it wrong and not playing in this market, because these costs are rising every day and are rising ever faster. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Reinisch. Grazie davvero a Markus Reinisch per aver dato anche quella che poi è una visione della posizione di Meta. Allora,